Welcome to the Blue Heart Podcast. I'm your host and conversational guide, Lieutenant Joe Pangaro. This podcast is for you, the men and women of law enforcement, because ours is a noble profession, worthy of your heart, your passion, and your life. Now, let's get to the heart of the matter. Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Blue Heart Network, and this is the Blue Heart Podcast with your host, Lieutenant Joe Pangaro. Now, I told you when we first started putting it out that we were going to be out here. We're here to be the mind, body, heart, and soul of law enforcement. That's the purpose of our network, to talk about what we do in law enforcement, no matter what your position is, no matter where you are, retired people too, right? Because you never stop really being a cop, right? So one of the things that I found important in my career was that we try and stay healthy, right? You try and stay in shape. You want to do the right thing. You want to work out. You want to make sure you're healthy. And sometimes some people let that go, right? We all know people that are out of shape and they get through their career and then they're going to go on with their life. And then boom, something pops up and you find out, gee, I didn't realize I had this horrible thing growing in my body. I wish I would have known 5 years ago. I wish I would have been able to get ahead of this. So I'm looking around and I'm saying, how can we help ourselves, right? So that we live long, healthy lives. And I found some great people. And I want to make sure I say this all right. We have Eric Zaneski here with me, and Eric is the Director of Digital Media for our partners, Medical Essential Diagnostics. Now, Medical Essential Diagnostics, I don't have their poster at the moment, but they are a sponsor of the Blue Heart Network. So, Eric, welcome aboard.
Thank you for having me, Joe. Really appreciate your time today.
Absolutely. And I got to say, I'm really happy that you're here, and not just because you're a sponsor, that's great and all, but what you're doing, is an amazing thing, because I do know officers that in the middle of their career, we see it all the time, right? We see all these end of watch posters and you're like, what happened to that brother? What happened to that sister? And you find out they had some kind of a cancer or they had some kind of other thing they had no idea was growing in them. And you say, why don't you go out and get your physicals? Well, we do, we don't, not everyone does the right thing. And from what I understand is that the Medical Essential Diagnostics, you are helping law enforcement to make sure that they stay healthy, right? So why don't you tell us a little bit about the group?
Sure. Thank you, Joe. And thank you for having me on again. My name is Eric. I'm the Director of Digital Media for Medical Essential Diagnostics. And we created something called the Save My Life program. Essentially, once a year, first responders and their family members can go for a full cardiopulmonary diagnostic testing. And we work with the insurance that the department already provides to the employees, and we also work with private 501(c)s in order to cover the rest of the tests. We have 5 clinic locations around the state of New Jersey. We have Englewood, Morristown, Marlton, Princeton, and Wall Township. It takes about 3 hours to do the program. It's a litany of tests, including a stress test where we have the guys run on the treadmill. We do vascular ultrasounds, lung function tests, urinalysis, blood tests, checks, x-rays. It's a really fully comprehensive experience, and we try to take care of our first responder family members, and we want to make sure that everybody knows what they need to do in order to get back up to the levels they need to be.
That's Eric. And now, Eric, that's excellent. And let me say, when you say that first responders, I thought initially this was just for the boys and girls in blue, but it's not. You cover all first responders and other groups. Who else can come to you for help? Because a lot of our law enforcement people out there have family members that are in other professions that may be able to take advantage of your program. Who else would be involved? Who else could go get your services?
That's right, Joe. We have first responders, including, police, all types of law enforcement branches. We do firefighters, emergency responders, and it's much more than just first responders. We do educators, teachers, college professors. We do anybody who works for the city or the town, as in administrators or the town clerk. We do departments such as the Department of Public Works, Energy Protection, Children and Families departments, state departments like the Motor Vehicle Commission, and as well as federal guys, including, FEMA and other emergency response teams. So
it sounds like anybody that works for the state in any capacity, a municipality, they're your customer base.
That's right. And we want to make sure that the people who serve our great state of New Jersey are taken care of. And, it's such an incredible career to be one of these, because you're giving back to the state. Now, what we like to do is we appreciate your service and we want to provide back to you. So
That's
it's a thank you.
that's outstanding, and obviously you're a big supporter of law enforcement and first responder community. I spoke to your guy Jack, and he jumped right on board and said, "Hey, we love the cops. We want to help. We want to support the network. We want to make sure that anybody that needs services gets them." And I think that is absolutely wonderful, because right now not everybody is so keen on law enforcement, but what happens if we step away, right? Everybody's running for their lives, like we're seeing in the big cities as things happen. So let me ask you a question. Here I am. I'm a 43-year-old patrol officer, and I'm riding around, and I'm just not feeling great. And I say, you know what? My wife says to me, "Hey, go get checked out. Go to the doctor." Or I'm a corrections officer, and my husband tells me, you're not looking so good. Maybe go get some help. How do they make an appointment? What do they do? What do they have to do?
It's really funny, Joe, because it's always the spouse that motivates the officer to do this program. And we are very thankful for the spouses of law enforcement officers, and especially their families. If you would like to request an appointment, we sort of invite people to come out to our clinics. We have, like I said before, 5 clinics around New Jersey. What we do, which is special, we go to the departments and let the guys know during like shift changes or PBA meetings. We give them a short presentation on the program. We tell them what's included, how they're covered. We tell them that they can bring their spouse and their family members, and we motivate these guys to go and do it. The other way that they could do it is they could go to www.med-nj.com, and on the top right-hand corner of our website, it says request an appointment. If they just fill out that form, it just asks some basic questions, and then we have somebody from scheduling call you and help you pick a day and a time to come in. There are more than that. We have different programs available, like the spouses program, where both spouses can come in together and get seen at the same time. And they usually make a day out of it. They try to encourage each other to get back up to the appropriate levels. I was telling you before that we have something called Med Mobile, where instead, if you're a little bit further from one of our clinics, we can actually bring the clinic directly to the department or whatever city or town wants to get the testing done. So
right.
There's a lot of different.
Earlier, you were saying you went to a school and you did it because all school teachers are covered, right? People who work in schools are covered. So I think that's important for everybody to understand, because some parts of New Jersey are a little farther away than other parts, and you're willing to come there with a Med Mobile and do this, right? People make appointments, the mobile shows up, and they do that. I didn't know you did the spouses as well. That's great, because you know what? I might live through my career and I get out of it. I'm healthy as a horse, and then something hits my wife, or something hits somebody's husband, or whoever your significant other is. And next thing you know, they got a problem. So that's fantastic. This is a great thing for first responders, fire department, teachers, anybody that works for the state, federal people. Now, nice and slow, give us that email address or that website so that we can go to. Everybody get ready, get your pens ready, because you're going to write this down, because you're going to go get yourself healthy. You're going to survive. Go ahead, Eric.
That website can be found at www.med-nj.com.
Med-nj.com. That's pretty simple, right? I think we should be able to get that. That's outstanding. All right, so when we do these tests, okay, now I go there, I show up, I do my appointment, I provide my insurance, and then it's taken care of, however it's taken care of. When do I hear the results of the test? What do I hear?
So we do our results within 2 weeks of you coming in to get the tests done. They can either be given to you through the phone, you can be sent in an encrypted email with all the results, or a lot of the times, and actually something that's rare in healthcare these days, the third option is that you can come set a follow-up appointment, and the doctor will actually sit down with you and go line by line and show you exactly what you need to do to get back up to the appropriate levels.
So these are the doctors that are doing the tests that you're providing at these exams. You can make another appointment, go back to that doctor and go over the results with you, and then you could take that to your other doctors or whatever. Is that what you're saying?
That's correct. And one of my favorite doctors that works for the program, his name is Dr. Anthony Saccone. He's an incredible doctor. He was known as the Newark police surgeon for over 20 years. He's got a long, extensive history of working with law enforcement and family members, and he's just a big supporter of cardiopulmonary awareness. And we can't thank him enough for being there and serving our patients and improving our communities.
That's great to hear. Now, my family, we had a history of cardiac. My father, God bless him, passed away when he was 37 years old in my arms on a hunting trip. Can you imagine? I was a little kid. So I've always worried about that. And, I was never a smoker. He was a smoker, and, so there's a lot of contributing factors. But when I look at this and I say a lot of officers first, and people in the first responder community, we're used to, running and gunning. Our lives are fast. We're helping other people. We're doing the right things. When we're looking at this service, you want to make sure that you take advantage of this, right? There's not very many groups that are going to come out and tell you, hey, come on out, we care about you, and find out, because we never think anything's going to happen to us, and then something does. So when it comes to teachers, when I retired from law enforcement, I became a director of school safety and security for a big district here in New Jersey. And I met a man, he was a principal of the school. His name was Rob, and really a wonderful, wonderful human being, physically fit. This guy was as fit as a fiddle, strong as an ox, smart, was looking forward to his retirement, right? He puts in his papers for December. This is great. He's going to have a great life now. He did 30-something years in the school district, and he's going to go, him and his wife are going to travel and this and that. And before they got on their first trip, he just wasn't feeling right. He went in, he had stage 4 colon cancer, and he was dead within 6 months. Now, had he taken advantage of a thing like this, they would have found that probably, right? Or people with cardiac problems that they don't realize, I'm just not feeling right. And here's doctors that you can go to. They're all over the state. They're here because they care about law enforcement. So take advantage of this. All right, one more time. Give me that website again.
med-nj.com.
med-nj.com. All right, if Lieutenant Joe can remember that, you can remember it. All right, Eric, now listen, the reason I'm telling that story is because I'm sure that there have been people that have come to your facilities, have taken advantage of this, and found out they had something they didn't know about. Is there anything you could tell us about that?
It's really unfortunate about how many stories I actually do have on things like this. The one that really hits me home the most, right? There was a police chief from North Hanover Township. He came in, we did a presentation for his department like we normally do. He came into our clinic, got seen, went through the whole testing and everything like that, and he got his results back. They found something, and 2 weeks later, he was pretty much going into the hospital to get quadruple bypass surgery. I mean, it's really crazy.
That saved his life, because those things can pop up and they kill you in the middle of the night. They kill you when you wake up in the morning, and people will say, "Well, how did you not know?" Well, sometimes there's no symptoms, or sometimes you don't even recognize the symptoms.
And you know what? The worst part about it is, a lot of the times, since we're talking about law enforcement, these guys are usually pretty good in shape. You take a look at them, you think that they're pretty decent. Unfortunately, that plays against them a lot of the time. Another story that I have is of a fire battalion chief from Newark. Basically, he was getting ready to compete in the World Police and Fire Games, and he always felt something wasn't right in his chest. He went to a program like this and got seen, got the results back, and they told him, "Hey, you have something really serious here. Essentially, you have a flap in your aortic valve in your heart, and there are these little cuspids that regulate the blood flow pretty much." Well, one of the cuspids was hanging on by a thread. And the next time that gentleman had some sort of stressful event where his heart rate was able to escalate, he unfortunately, that might have really been bad for him.
Right. And what could he possibly do as a fire battalion chief? Run into a burning building? Come on, what's the chances? Of course. I mean, this is the kind of thing that we don't realize. And it's not just the guys, but it's the girls that are out there too. We have women firefighters, women teachers, women law enforcement. Women are so involved in all of the first responder world now, and they are prone to the exact same kind of things as we are. I mean, heart disease in women is I think almost the number one killer of women. which is crazy. So ladies, you too need to go out there and get yourself taken care of. Get your spouses taken care of. This is important stuff. And I think that's great story to hear. You saved 2 lives, right? That life could be you, my brothers and sisters. Do you get it? It could be you. And you're going to leave behind your family, your significant other, your wife, your husband, your children, when you could have found out. And here they are taking care of you. So Eric, I want to thank you. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say real quick, the doctor always says this one thing that really stuck home with me. Are you a fan of Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter?
I've watched them both with all my kids.
All right, so about a 3-hour long movie, right? If you have time to watch one of the Harry Potter movies or one of the Lord of the Rings movies in your free time, you have enough time to go get this program done once a year. And it takes about 3 hours to do. And I couldn't think about any more of a productive way to spend 3 hours, right?
Right. You know what? And I'm going to add on to that. 3 hours seems like, oh, what am I going to do? How am I going to fit 3 hours into my day? Well, the first 3 hours after you drop dead are probably really, really tough times for your family and friends and everybody else. And you may not feel it, but the reality is it's only 3 hours. And if it can save your life, it's worth the 3 hours. So, Eric, I don't want to keep you all day here, but I want to have you back on. I want to get some more of these stories. Maybe we get some of these people on to talk to us about how they felt whenever they did. So it's Medical Essential Diagnostics, www.med-nj.com. Okay. You can reach out to me. I'm going to give you my email address, everybody. It's joe@pangarotraining.com. Just make sure you put in the thing there, podcast, so I know what it is and it's not part of the training stuff. If you want to reach out to Eric, I'll connect you, but go to that website, take a look, take 5 minutes right now, go take a look and find out, maybe there's an appointment. I can go save my life, right? We have to take care of ourselves, right? Eric, thank you so much. And we'll be back again. Everybody out there, thank you for being here. This is an important topic. I lived through my career. I didn't get killed on the job. We know a lot of people do, right? But we know people get seriously injured. Right? You get through your career, you're having a good time, and then all of a sudden you find something. Don't fall prey to that. Take advantage of this. So this is Lieutenant Joe Pangaro for the Blue Heart Podcast here on the Blue Heart Network. Thank you for being here, everybody, and we will see you down the road.
Lieutenant Joe and the Blue Heart Podcast Network would like to thank our sponsors. Blue 360 Media. You can find them at www.blue360media.com. And Medical Essential Diagnostics. You can find them at www.med-nj.com. We would also like to thank the Blue Heart Network production team, led by Senior Executive Director Todd Pangaro. Be careful out there. Do what's right.